Hello, welcome to the June 24th meeting of the Planning and Development Committee. Director Flax, can we take a roll call?
Councilmember Kelly? Here. Councilmember Nusma?
Here.
Councilmember Reed?
Here.
Councilmember Geracaris?
Here.
Councilmember Vavell? Here. Councilmember Burns? I have a quorum.
Seeing that we have a quorum, and
I'm also here.
you're also here? Okay. Seeing that we have a quorum and are ready to do our work, could I have someone, and we just, so the public knows, we have no one signed up for public comment. And so, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
And let's take a voice vote on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
I have to abstain.
Okay, let's take a roll call then, okay?
Councilmember Kelly? Councilmember Nusma?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Geracaris?
Aye.
Councilmember Vavell?
I abstain.
Councilmember Wynn?
The ayes have it, so the meeting minutes have been approved. And now we are to items for consideration.
I will move ordinance 50. I don't know if we just have
Mr. Chair, I'll
to
move
call for
ordinance,
public comment, just to, as a,
There was no one signed
I know no one signed up. I don't know if we, okay.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
move ordinance 59024, a map amendment from the WE1 district and the OWE overlay district to the R4 general residential district, and major variations for co-housing townhomes at 1611 Church Street.
Second.
Great, and the floor is open for discussion. Staff has told me that someone is here from the development that would like to speak or have a short presentation.
I'm happy to do so. My name is Tom Gorgashon. I live at 1107 Hull Terrace in Evanston. So the project is adaptive reuse of an existing nominally 100-year-old light industrial building, Bow Trust light industrial building of about 14,000 square feet into 7 two-level cooperatively owned townhouses, if you will. The existing site plan shows the building and its footprint, a detached garage structure to the east, to the northeast, and you can see in the 3 photographs above its current condition.
Make sure you're speaking into your mic.
Speaking into here.
In the
I'm
mic.
sorry, I thought it was close enough, I'm sorry. And so that's sort of the existing condition that you can see there. The survey is a survey. It shows the property layout in there. This is a little bit of a view of the building in its completed condition. As you can see, on the south end of the building is an added greenhouse and some common amenity space, which will include a kitchen, a dining area, and facilities for growing food. Hopefully, we're trying to engineer how to do that year-round inside. Also on site, there is a garden of about 2,200 square feet. That'll be an outdoor garden on raised beds, and that'll be on top of the stormwater management system. So we're, under the current requirements, we're obligated to detain about 14,000 cubic feet of stormwater for up to 48 hours on site, and that's all going to be done underground in various types of conveyances. This is proposed site plan. As you can see, the building is pretty much in its same condition. It does get a new skin on it. We're going to restore the masonry where we can, and then cover those other areas with a combination of cedar plank and Corten steel as an accent piece, and punctuated with doors and windows, as you might imagine. This is a view of the first floor residential layout of the building, and on the far north end or left side of the screen, you'll see some of the amenity spaces which includes a workshop, an art studio, a yoga space, an exercise space, music/recording studio, and then an overnight guest accommodation. So it's just sort of like a hotel room, if you will, a little bit smaller than that, actually. And so the concept with co-housing is that there are very generous amenity spaces or common area spaces, and the units are slightly smaller. And so all those amenity spaces are shared. Sorry, you're not getting, okay. This happened last time, too. And so what you end up with are units that vary between about 1,300 square feet. The biggest unit in there, I think, is about 2,200 square feet on 2 levels. And there's about 4,000 square feet of amenity space that's heated and cooled, so indoor space. And then the grounds of the property, which comprise most of the residual acreage on the site, just a little bit less than 1 acre, is all common area as well. And so the idea is to have a community garden there, and the plantings that would border between our property and the Cahill Plumbing property would be a grove of fruit trees growing along there, and probably some other decorative plantings to kind of screen ourselves from the plumber, if you will. This elevations of the building, you can see the tan areas are done in cedar. The darker brown areas is the Corten steel paneling that would go over that with a rain screen in between to preserve the brick. This is a view of the proposed garage surfaces that we would do, again, covered in cedar, including the garage doors. And so to give a kind of a consistent view of a natural material along there. The top edge piece, the top edge is, again, the Corten. The garages have a row of windows up at the high end to get some natural light into the garage spaces. And that would be the view from Church Street, looking to the north. Would be that is a garage structure there that kind of screens the rest of the property from the street, gives a little bit of privacy, and presents a, kind of a modern look facade on the building. Any questions?
We have Councilmember Ravel.
Excuse me. Well, I just want to say a couple of things. It's, I think, a really exciting adaptive reuse project, and with impressive sustainability features, and which I certainly appreciate. I'm wondering, sometimes I hear for co-housing projects, the residents, the potential co-housing members are already kind of part of a group, and they look for somebody like you to build something for them. Have you been hearing from them yet?
Yeah, it started that way, actually. And this is going back a couple of years before the property was acquired. It really started as a discussion with a small group of people. And I think it was sort of an outgrowth of the pandemic, when everybody was sort of staying in small groups and eating together with, trusted friends and neighbors and that kind of thing. And the concept came out of that ill-defined. I didn't know what co-housing was at the time. I've been doing real estate development for over 45 years, so I know the process, but I didn't understand the organizational bits. And as the group had more and more discussions, there was consideration about sustainability, about going all electric, about growing as much food as practicable, about doing maintenance and management to the extent possible of a group. So basically forming a series of committees who write their own rules about who shovels the snow, how often do you cut the grass, who changes the light bulbs, all the kind of things that people usually look to me for. And so it's a bit of a super democratic kind of approach to rulemaking, as opposed to a set of bylaws that you would normally have with a homeowners association or condominium building. And this is really self-management steroids kind of approach. Very interesting and difficult in the sense that it's all by consensus. So there is no set of rules on the front end. And so it's kind of an Imagineering sort of process that we're already going through. And as more and more people hear it, and whether it's an empty nester or a young family or senior citizen coming in there, there's different requirements for different occupants. And people are kind of gravitating to it. I think people get a little tired of sort of single-family isolation that seems to be going on, every man for himself sort of approach. And this is a little bit different approach.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Nusma.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of questions for the applicant about the sustainability features. I read in the packet that you're planning an all-electric building, but with gas backup. Could you speak to the technology you're planning to use for the HVAC?
Well, heating and cooling be air source heat pump.
Okay.
Primary power source is electrical. The backup was a consideration is we have an all-electric building. What happens if ComEd goes down? Now what do? You can't heat the building if it's subject to potential freeze and damage to the property. There's already a massive gas line going into the property from the street. And so the idea was, well, maybe we get a backup generator, right? Not knowing, nobody discussed the cost of these things on the front end, but everybody had sort of the concept of it, you know? So we want to maintain the potential.
So gas to a backup generator,
We
not
go
gas
gas
to
to
a
back-
backup furnace or
No.
water heater. Okay.
No, that would still be electric.
Right.
So
If ComEd goes
everything's
down.
in there
the-
electric, yeah.
If ComEd goes down, your gas furnace won't work either because the fan isn't turning.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So
And
you can only
solar,
go electric.
solar on the roof?
Solar on the roof, it looks like we've got enough square footage of collector area that we could probably do the EV charging in the garages and maybe some of the landscape lighting, assuming it's low voltage and that kind of thing. They're just not adequate real estate to be able to power the building, but it can certainly pick up a good bit of the load.
Right, okay, thank you. I also have a question for staff. This is a fairly innovative housing solution, at least in Evanston. Will this be, will our new co-housing license come into play here?
License.
I infer the answer is no.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for the question, Councilmember Nusma. No, this would not fall under the shared housing licensing requirements for the city.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Great. I will just echo the excitement that I have for like this adaptive reuse. I think this is a really interesting model that hopefully we'll have other opportunities to see more development like this in Evanston. I don't see any more lights up here, so.
You want to ask about chickens?
No, that's all. That's that. Oh, Councilmember Kelly.
Sure, just a quick comment. I'm also very excited about the co-housing model. I have just some concerns about the parking sort of wall onto Church Street in terms of creating a sense of community and being part of the community. I know oftentimes when homes are created, and we've had some where it was all parking on the front, we've modified it to have front porches so that it, could you speak, so what is the length of that?
That houses 8 cars, so it's about 160 feet, I think.
Okay. And was anything explored in a way that would open it more to the community?
Well,
It just feels kind of severed
No,
off.
I understand what you're saying. What we were trying to solve architecturally and with the materials was to front it on a little bit more residential scale and residential materials that you would see in a more modern environment. But we had the problem with the variance request to park in the front, and that the driving force there was that people don't want to see cars parked in somebody's front yard, if you will, under the R4 zoning, which is what we're requesting. And so the idea was to screen it, but screen it with something that was a little bit more community acceptable.
I see, so parking had to be in the front.
Has to be in front because the building, as you see, the building is shoved back into the rear yard setback where normally you would park in back. There is no alley there either, by the way. So we were sort of boxed in to do the adaptive reuse because the building extends into the rear yard setback area.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Councilmember Reed.
Just quickly want to say, I believe you said you live on Hull Terrace, which means you're in
I
the
do.
8th Ward. So I'll just say congratulations and thank you for bringing this project to us.
Thank you. Thanks, appreciate it.
Great. Seeing no further questions, can we please take a roll?
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
Councilmember Nusma.
Aye.
Councilmember Reed.
Aye.
Councilmember Geracaris.
Aye.
Councilmember Rebel.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wynn.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Got it.
Seeing no further business, we are adjourned, and we will return here at, let's say, 6:25 for city council.